Let's get it. Welcome back to another edition of the Hampton Show. Joel, how are we feeling today?
I'm feeling great. We're getting close to the NBA regular season, and we got a great show in store. Some over-unders for the East and the West. I can't wait to get into it.
Same here. Last week, we predicted the entire NBA season, including awards, including playoff teams, including even an NBA Finals prediction. This week, though, Joel, we're predicting every franchise's win total. We did this back in July, but a lot of players have changed teams since then. A lot of numbers have changed since then. But before we even start that, I just want to give you your props. The Netflix show Starting Five came out this week, and you were featured. Big congrats on that. It is all earned. Happy for you, bro.
Thank you so much. It was cool that they used my clip to prop up the NBA champions OKC. That it feels like, this show doesn't feel like we'll go back to back this season.
No, they will not. And we'll definitely have a conversation whenever we get to OKC. But let's start with the Atlanta Hawks. Number on them is 47.5. To me, it's the hardest one on the list. How do you feel about it?
I think that if they're healthy, this is an easy over, but that's the problem. Will they be healthy? Will Porzingis remain healthy? Will Jalen Johnson remain healthy? But the optimism with the Hawks is they basically traded for an all-star caliber center in Porzingis, and then Jalen Johnson, he was on the way to winning most improved player last season, and there might be another leap in store for him. So this feels like one of those where I don't want to bet against it, so I'm going to go over.
And I'm the opposite. I don't want to bet on it. I don't want to bet on Kristaps Porzingis' health. Not only have he suffered injuries throughout his career, but the illness that he had in the playoffs is something I keep going back to. You're going to point to FIBA basketball. That's whatever. That is not NBA basketball. And what I saw from him last time he was in an NBA uniform was he was unstartable for his Boston Celtics. If that changes with the Atlanta Hawks, then you fall back on the physical concerns. Will his body hold up for an 82-game season? And you mentioned Jalen Johnson, too. This is a guy early in his career who has not been able to stay on the court. I hope he does. I think he's a superstar talent, but that's another question mark for this team. That's exactly why I still like Cleveland, New York, Orlando, and Detroit better than them. 47.5, again, is their number. I say slightly under on this. I think 47 is more realistic. And that's how I feel about that one. Let's get into the Boston Celtics, 42.5. How you feeling?
I'm feeling this is a tricky one because all offseason long, I was not high on the Celtics at all. But then I look at Derek White and what he's going to do in an increased role. I look at Anthony Simons off the bench. Payne Pritchard is going to be really good as a starter, but Jaylen Brown's already hurt. So that's the reason why I might go under on this.
Why is that the fourth name you mentioned, though? Why are you mentioning Anthony Simons' name before Jaylen Brown's name?
Because Jaylen Brown's hurt right now.
Okay, we will see. But I think as far as a 42.5, you and I agree. It's under. The rest of the roster is the problem. But Jaylen Brown, hurt or not, is a reason that you and I are even thinking about this. And the fact that you continuously do not put respect on this team under Jaylen Brown as the number one option is the problem that we have. It's only us can agree on an under and still disagree on a team. And Jaylen Brown, if he's healthy, I think has a chance to be a first-team All-NBA player this year.
I think so, too. We saw that not too long ago he averaged 27 points per game. And in every game that he's played without Jason Tatum, he shows that he can score, and that repertoire is on full display. I question the playmaking. I question when defenses are game planning for him and solely him on a night-to-night basis, how will that make him look? Will his flaws be exposed? Will it show that, he's much improved? That's what I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm going to go under on this, though. I don't think that the Boston Celtics are going to be that competitive this year. They're a forward-thinking franchise, and I just have a hard time believing that. Looking at this draft class, Brad Stevens is going to try to put the chips into this season and try to get a meaningless play-in or eighth seed.
Mm-hmm. They're going to have a chance in every game because of Mazzulla's system. Like they're going to shoot 53s a game. If they hit 30 of them, they can beat anybody. But if they hit 10 of them, the game's not going to be close. There's going to be a lot of variance with this team. By the way, side note, I'm sure you saw the viral video of Mazzulla making the coaches play against the media on Twitter. Boston media, they have an annual media versus media game. Joe Mazzulla at their opening shoot around the other day was like, I know you guys, media members, think you're playing each other. You're playing the coaches. The coaches ended up beating them. I think it was like 59-4 or something like that. But
59-4.
yes, yes. And they literally, Kevin O'Connor, if you go to his feed, he quote tweeted a couple of the videos, but it literally shows like them hitting threes and shit and pans over the scoreboard and it's 59-4. But Joel, I feel like you and I could hold up against NBA coaches. I don't think we'd win. I'm not going to sit here and say that. Like I'm a little ass dude. I'm just saying we could score more than 4 points. That's all I'm saying.
4 points, yeah. I think I hit a three. You hit a three. That's six right there. So I
Yeah.
think more than 4 points for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Throw Riv in there too. And the rest of the guys, I think there'd be a chance. All right, Brooklyn Nets up next, 19 and a half. I said this phrase a couple weeks ago. If you want to watch or if you want a terrorist to talk, to show them Brooklyn Nets basketball, that's going to be their season. I'm still taking the under on 19 and a half.
Yeah, I'm going under on this. They are not a good team.
Yep. Charlotte Hornets up next, 27 and a half. I got a soft spot for them. They beat the shit out of my Grizzlies this week. And I can't even lie, Joe. Like I was low key, like snickering under my breath, happy about it. Soft spot for all them cats. Grizzlies won't let me in the door. The Hornets will. I'm like, am I cheering for the Hornets over my own team? No, I was not. But I do take the over on the Hornets total. 27 and a half feels too low.
It's very low. There's definitely baked in injuries into this projection, but I think Brandon Miller, he's gonna be really good for them. Then LaMelo healthy. This is a 30-win team at least. Like I think the floor is 30
Yeah,
for
me
them.
me too. And I think Colin Sexton's a real player. I think Trey Mann's a real player. Con Knipple, what he has shown in the preseason shooting wise, is definitely going to be a contributor. Grant Williams off the bench, I think, is a real player. The question mark is going to be the big man position. Can Diabate step up to that? Tijon Salon had to be good for them last year to have a chance at winning 30 games. He doesn't have to be good. He's irrelevant this year. If he's a bust, he's a bust. It doesn't matter. Their roster's good enough to win 30 games. Chicago Bulls are up next, 32 and a half on them.
I'm going over on this, and I think there's some breakout potential for Josh Giddey. I think Josh Giddey is getting slept on. I think everybody just thinks that he's an empty guy number. He's coming from OKC. A championship team didn't want him, but you see what he did post All-Star break, shooting 45% from three. If his three-point shooting sticks, not to that degree, but let's say he becomes a 38% three-point shooter with his combination of vision, court mapping, playmaking, passing, rebounding. He can stuff the stat sheet, and with how the Bulls want to play out in transition, getting the ball out to their slashers and Mataz Buzelis and Noah Senge. I think that
Ooh.
the Bulls are going to be fun, and Josh Giddey has some real breakout potential that I feel like people are just overlooking.
You just said Josh Giddey's going to be slept on after getting $100 million contract. He just
People
got
like me,
$100 million, and you think he will be slept on. Me, I
yeah.
hope he can live up to it. I don't think anybody's sleeping on him. I think people are trying to see if he earned that, if he will live up to it.
So I think he will live up to it. And I think that there's real potential that after this season, we're looking at that contract and saying that's one of the better contracts in the league for a guy that good.
Jalen Brunson got a contract similar to this. Jalen Brunson had proved a lot more than Josh Giddey. Jalen Brunson had
Yes.
dropped 40 plus in a playoff game and got that contract. That's the money we're talking about, not 12 to 13 to 14 points a game and 7 rebounds, 7 assists. He finished the season strong. The contract seems rich. I hope he can live up to it. I'm not going to argue with you. This is going to be a fun team. They play fast. They shoot threes. Patrick Williams is still on this roster. Nikola Vucevic is still on this roster. That's why I'm taking the under, though.
I
Let's
think
move on to.
that's fair. They're
Let's,
they're not that good, but Josh Giddey, don't sleep on him.
I'm snoring. Let's get to the Cavaliers. 57 and a half is their number. It's a team who won 64 games last year.
I'm not gonna go less on them because I don't think they're good enough to do it. It's just last season they took the regular seasons very serious, and I think that this year they kind of understand that maybe we'll put more of an energy into the playoffs and being healthy, and they're not gonna try as hard as they tried last year. Is my point. But they have a lot of talent still, and I like the offseason that they did have. I think they actually got better. I think Alonzo Ball replacing Ty Jerome makes them better. I think Larry Nance gives them some size and positional value. And you have the four All-Stars returning back.
Mm-hmm.
So the Cavaliers are better. And I also
No,
am
they're
looking
not.
forward to Jalen Tyson playing and getting some minutes. Jalen Tyson's a player that I really like out of Cal.
I want to go back to last year. The constant excuse I hear from Cleveland and the people who think they're going to be just as good, if not better than last year, is that Darius Garland was hurt in the playoffs. Do we really think in that 5 game series that didn't even feel like a 5 game series that Darius Garland would have altered the outcome of that? Do you think that?
Healthy?
Yes. He would have altered
Potentially.
the outcome of a 5 game quick series.
One of the games the Pacers won on a miraculous comeback.
Okay. So it would have been a 6 game win. That's
I
not
think
altering the outcome.
Garland changes the outcome if
You
he's
think
healthy.
you think the Cavs would have won that series, therefore won 3 more games with Darius Garland?
If just Garland or the entire Cavs team was healthy.
You want to go into the other injuries and talk about who else needed to be healthy?
Evan Mobley had an ankle injury. Donovan Mitchell got injured during the series too. So I thought the Cavaliers were a better team. I thought that they were just hurt in that series.
No, I don't think that was the case. I think the Indiana Pacers were the better team throughout. Everybody's banged up in the playoffs. Donovan Mitchell, yes, was banged up. Evan Mobley was banged up. But to me, Darius Garland is not that big of a swivel piece to alter a 5 game series into a 7 game win for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Ty Jerome is not here anymore. You replace that with Lonzo Ball, who also has an injury history, and I don't trust holding up in the playoffs. It's a different conversation, though. 57.5 at first glance seems low compared to 64 last year, but you laid out the reason I'm going to go under. One, they're not going to take this as seriously as last year. Two, I don't think this team is any better. And three, they're starting the year with these injuries. We talked about Garland if he was healthy. He's not healthy going into the season. So that's why I'm taking under 57.5 for them. Dallas Mavericks are up next, a team you like. 40.5 is the number.
Oh, this is an easy over. Cooper Flag looks amazing in the preseason, and Anthony Davis is going to be one of the best 10 players in the NBA. D'Angelo Russell looks good in the preseason too. He's going to be a good guard for them at the very least. I think that the Mavericks, this is clear. This is clear. They're going to be a playoff team this year.
I'll do this. I was with you on the Cooper Flag thing. He looks legit. That's why I'm taking the over. They're going to win 41 games. They're going to go 500. That's technically over 40.5. But Anthony Davis being a top 10 player in the NBA in the year 2025 and 2026 is ridiculous. I don't know if you happen to see the recent pictures of him on Twitter. He looks like a guy who's heading into a season, heading into a team that he doesn't believe in, can contend with OKC, Denver, and Houston. That's how, from afar, it looked like he handled this offseason.
If he feels that way, it's because of his own mindset. Because if you plop Luka onto this team instead of AD, they're a championship contender.
100%.
So if Anthony Davis takes on the role of saying, I can be the best player on this team and we can do something meaningful, then they can, because they're that talented. And that's why I think that this line is disrespectful, because
No, it's not.
They're not just an average team. They're a great team. They're a great basketball team.
That's the problem, Joel. This team is built around Luka's talents. It's not built around Anthony Davis's talent.
It fits him perfect.
It looked like he did not take this offseason seriously. He admitted he's 15 pounds heavier than he was at the end of last season. That's a problem, especially with his health, especially when we're talking about a 7-footer who has had multiple lower leg injuries.
Maybe he wants to be more of a bruiser down low. Maybe he wants to change up his game.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly why.
Anthony Davis has never wanted to play the 5, and I don't think that's going to start this year. And we can talk about the guard situation. D'Angelo Russell, starting point guard on a playoff caliber team, is not a recipe for success. He wasn't even a recipe for success for Brooklyn.
But he's not going to be that, because he's going to be a backup.
Who's going to start?
Kyrie, when he comes back.
Yeah, you keep talking about Kyrie, how he's coming.
He's going to come back.
Is he coming back next month? Clearly not.
He's coming back at least in January.
March. We're talking about March. We're talking about the win total from October to the beginning of April, and you're betting on a guy who's coming back in March.
D'Lo was the starting point guard for the team that made the conference finals
2.5 years ago, Joel.
So I'm just saying, as of right now,
him contribute like that
as of right
since
now,
that moment.
He's the starter, but he's there to be the backup. He's the backup. He would be a
he's
backup
there to be the backup, but he has to be the starter because Kyrie is out
for now. Kyrie's coming back in January, at least February, at the very least. At the very least, he looks good already, shooing.
Joel, I almost asked you if you wanted to put money on it, but we can't. We're not going to do that with injuries. I don't think it's going to be February.
So you think it's going to be March?
Yes, and I also think regardless, let's say he does come back in February, the Anthony Davis thing's the problem. And I haven't even gotten to Cooper Flag having to play point guard for them.
Well, that's going to be great because Cooper Flag is an amazing talent that can play point guard.
He can. I think it will be a learning curve the first month or two of the season,
And
and
then
he'll
he'll
figure it out.
learn it, and then he'll average 26 and 6.
He'll figure it out. But Wemby, as great as he was as his rookie year, it did not convert to wins, and I don't think this will either.
He didn't have this roster. This roster is way better.
This roster has a glaring hole at the point guard position, and you cannot hide that. You keep talking about Kyrie
It's
as
D'Lo.
if he's
It's
playing
not that
this
bad.
month.
It
It
could
is
be
that
worse.
bad.
It could
It
be
is that
worse.
bad. Nobody else wanted to sign him, and there's a reason for it.
It could be worse. The Spurs had Trey Jones starting in Wemby's rookie year. They actually experimented with Jeremy Shohan starting at point guard his rookie year.
Trey Jones thing's a lot closer to
No,
this
it's not. D'Lo
deal than
clears
you want it to
him.
be.
D'Lo clears him.
Okay, yes, he's a better player. All I am saying is it's a lot closer now than it was when he made that Western Conference Finals run in 2023, May of 2023.
That Trey Jones versus this D'Lo is still clearly D'Lo, even with all his flaws.
Okay.
I think he's fine. He's like
You've yet to respond to
like the
the Anthony
fifth
Davis
guy.
piece of it. You have your response to Anthony Davis showing up out of shape is maybe he wants to be burlier down low. That was your response.
No, I think you're looking too much into it. I think that Anthony Davis is going to be fine this
Looking
year.
too much into what? He's been injury prone and he's coming in heavier than ever. That is a concerning sign, is it not?
No, I don't. I have no idea why he gained weight. It could be for a multitude of reasons, and he has time to get back into shape if he wants to.
You know what this reminds me of? Whenever there was that viral clip of him a couple years ago, and he's like, "I haven't touched a basketball in whatever it was, 6 months," and everybody's like, "Wait, what the hell?" And I'm telling you something similar to this, and you're like, "No, it doesn't affect me at all." That's what this reminds me of.
I just think that Anthony Davis is going to be fine once he gets on the court. He's going to play really well.
Okay, all right. Let's move on. Denver Nuggets, 53 and a half is their number.
Yeah, this is over. This is going to be one of the best teams in the West, and with the added additions that they had, now they don't have to give the starters at least the
Talk about
biggest
Jonas.
workload during the regular season.
Talk about
Well,
Jonas.
I talk about a couple players before I talk about him. I talk about Bruce Brown. I talk about Cam Johnson. I talk about Peyton Watson. I talk about even like Deron Holmes, who could be really good for them.
No. Last week you shit on Jonas Valanciunas. You know what
Think
you
of
did.
Tim Hardaway Jr.
And your first comment about taking the over about Denver was their starters won't have to play as much as they usually do.
Yes.
And
Jonas
you're
Valanciunas
specifically referring to Nikola Jokic.
and Jonas Valanciunas in his like 13 or 15 minutes that maybe or might not get taken by Deron Holmes as the season
That's
progresses.
not happening. They convinced him
he's
to
gonna be
not go
fine.
overseas.
All right.
It was a clear priority.
Maybe he's gonna be good for them, but yeah, they have added depth this year, and this is one of the best teams in the league. So this seems like
For sure.
a low number for them.
Yeah, I'm taking the over as well. Detroit Pistons, 45 and a half. I'm taking the over there as well. How do you feel about Detroit?
I'm going over on them. I think that they improved just from the free agents that they brought in, the veterans, and I think that their young players are going to get even better with Duran and Stewart and Asar and Jaden Ivey and Ron Holland. I think that they got a lot of things that they could bank on. There's another step for them.
There's a lot of wins to be had in the East. I think continuity is a good thing for them. Getting Jaden Ivey back is a good thing for them. It's a younger version of Dennis Schroeder. I don't feel any type of way about Levert and Duncan Robinson. They overpaid Duncan clearly, but they couldn't re-sign Malik because of the circumstances. So they did the best they could to keep this together. Maybe it's more of a plateau this year. 46 wins is an over, and that's what I'm willing to take. Golden State's 48 and a half. How are you feeling about that one?
I'm not feeling too good about it. I kind of feel like they're too reliant on very old players. All three of their big three are old, and there's not a lot of depth behind them either. I think the Kuminga situation is weird too. This kind of I'm going under on this. I'm not sold on Golden State this season.
Yeah. I'm not either. I saw ESPN projected them to have, like their analytics department projected them to have 56 wins. That is ludicrous, especially when you're depending on Steph, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond at their age to stay healthy because the roster's so thin. I get the Al Horford thing. I get the Kaminga thing. That has all been solved. But you take one of those three players out of the equation, I think this is a much worse team. That's why, 48 and 34, I don't think it's a horrible record, and that's why I'm taking the under. Houston, their number dropped since the last time we talked about this significantly. It's down to 51 and a half. How do you feel about that?
I feel good about them going over on this. Fred VanVleet injury hurts, but now they're going to use Alperen Sengun more as an offensive hub for them. And the defense is going to be there still. They have added offensive juice with Kevin Durant. That's obvious. This seems like a team that's going to go over this number. Even if KD does get hurt, I think they have enough reinforcements to step in for a game or two and win those games.
It's another super, super tough one for me. I envision them riding right at 51 wins, and it's because of the Fred VanVleet injury. They have incredible depth. If somebody were to go down, I think they could ride the ship with it. I just want to go slightly under 51. I still think it's a 50-win season for Houston. Indiana Pacers is an interesting one. Obviously went to the NBA Finals this summer, but their number now is 36 and a half. They lost Tyrese Halliburton due to injury, and they lost Miles Turner due to the Milwaukee Bucks. And that's the biggest non-talked about thing whenever it comes to the Pacers number. They lost two starters, and that's why I'm taking the under 36 and a half.
I'm going over. Isaiah Jackson is going to be good at the five for them.
Mm-hmm.
He was good for them when he was a backup before he got hurt. And I think Nemhard is going to take a leap. And they still have Siakam and Mathurin and Neesmith. You have sprinkles of this championship winning Eastern Conference core on the roster. Obi Toppin, TJ McConnell. I think that they're too good to not be a 500 team.
Yeah, well, New York better hope they don't get into the playoffs. Not because Tyrese is coming, but it's got to sting a little bit from last year, huh?
No, I think they're done this year in terms of contention. The Knicks don't have to worry about them this year at all.
Los Angeles Clippers are next, 49 and a half.
I'm going over. They've won 50 games over the past 3-4 seasons. So they got better too. John Collins and Brooke Lopez and Chris Paul and Bradley Beal.
Right.
This is an easy over for me.
Yeah, it's an over for me as well. It's not as easy as it is for you. Kawhi Leonard, I don't trust his health, but this team is good enough. They're the oldest team in the league. They're made up of old players, but they just have such a big number of them. If a couple of them go down, they have replacements on their roster and are able to stay afloat. It's just going to be super hard in the Western Conference. That's why it's not easy for me, but I have a slight over as well. Sticking with the other team in LA, the Lakers, 47 and a half is the number on them.
This is a tricky one. Do I think that with Luka and LeBron and Reeves, they're a 48-win team at the very least?
No.
I do. At the very least, I do.
This number has went down since the LeBron news. It was the same as the Clippers. It was 49 and a half. It's gone down to 47 and a half. The LeBron injury, number one, we can sit on here and talk about if it's a for real injury, if it's not. I do think it's for real. I do think both can be true, though. They saw last year, and this time last season, people forget, LeBron went into the season saying, I want to play all 82 games. He played the first 23 in a row, back-to-backs included. He played the first 23. And then he had a groin injury. And ever since that groin injury, he did not feel the same for the rest of the season. I think he's learned from that. He wanted to make history last year, did not make it, did not even play half of the season in a row last year. So I think as far as going into this season without LeBron James, looking at this roster, this team is nowhere close to a 50-win team whenever the first few guys off your bench are Gabe Vincent, Jake LaRavia, and an 82-year-old Marcus Smart. That is not a Western Conference competitor. Taking the under.
Okay. Luka Magic.
And I'm taking the under on DeAndre Ayton's points too.
15? Is that what we set it at?
Yeah, even with the LeBron injury, I don't think that DA is going to be the one to make those up.
You're going to see him dominating.
I need to get you a jersey for Christmas. That's what I need to do.
Ayton.
My Grizzlies are up next. Number has significantly dropped from them too. In July, it was 41 and a half. It's dropped 2 wins to 39 and a half. Look, I don't feel great about this team, especially because they haven't won a preseason game. I was upset when they fired Taylor Jenkins, Joel, because it's a lot harder to find a better coach than Taylor Jenkins, especially in Memphis, a guy who wants to come to Memphis. But GM Zach Kleiman was stuck on Tomas Isolo. And Tomas Isolo, I gave him a pass at the end of last season. It was the hardest closing 9 game schedule. He went 3-6 in it. They got swept by OKC. So 3-6 with 4 losses, 3-10 to end the season last year. He coached Summer League. When Taylor Jenkins coached Summer League, his first year in the league, he won it. Tomas Isolo did not win it, and that was with Gigi Jackson. That was with Vince Williams. That was with contributors on the big man roster. They did not win Summer League. Now you go into this preseason, they haven't won a preseason game. So when is this team going to win something? And the preseason, there's a lot bigger problems in coaching too. Memphis has been a team with John Jaren. The reason they have been able to stay relevant throughout this little 5-year window is because when those guys have been out, they've still been able to find ways to win. You can take out the 2023 year whenever half the roster was out, but whenever their big guys were out, the famous stat in 2022 is they went 20-5 without John Morant. That is not going to be the case. With the amount of money that John and Jaren are making now, you don't have the role players that you do. And to ask John and Jaren to have this much on their plate is a problem. And I like that Jaren came back for the preseason. Nobody expected him to play a preseason game after that foot injury he suffered in June. He's weeks ahead of schedule. He's going to be ready for opening night. Him and Ja both. Excited about that. But look, this team I'm not confident in. I love what I've seen from KCP. Love what I've seen from Ty Jerome. Big man depth is a problem. Zach Edey's not starting the season. Having Jock Landale as your starting center is a legitimate problem. I'm still not all the way sold on Zach Edey in general. This feels like a team that should have went out and gave Houston a run for their money to re-sign Steven Adams, and they did not do that. They should have at least signed a competent big compared to Jock Landale and Kevon Looney. I would have rather had Kevon Looney than Jock Landale. I don't think it changes much. But that is the problem on this team. It is rim protection and pressure on the rim. Without John Morant, this team cannot finish at the basket. And without Jaren Jackson, this team cannot defend the basket. And whenever you have Jock Landale out there, Jaren's a guy who gets in foul trouble too. So having all of that pressure for him to be the only one defending the rim is not going to result well. I don't envision this team being a top 5 seed in the Western Conference. However, 39.5 still feels low. I can see them going 500.
Your frustrations are valid. And I think that Memphis is kind of stuck because they don't have the top end talent to push them over the top end talent of the other West teams. And then I think the depth is solid, but it's taken a bit of a hit in the last couple of seasons. That's why you made the argument for why they're going to be an under for me. And it's just an unfortunate fall from grace. I feel like a couple years ago, you're looking at Memphis as a team that has a lot of upside, and they just didn't draft the right players, and that's what ended up biting them. They draft Zaire Williams instead of drafting Şengün or Trey Murphy. Those type of moves are what kind of did them in, and they were just never able to build off of their 2022 season.
I don't know why you're acting like this is over and they just don't have a stockpile of assets to move on.
I think it's
I don't know why
over.
you're just like key in the door, throwing it, blow it up. That I don't understand either. Is there any evidence in this NBA that blow it up works? Seriously. Ask the Brooklyn Nets, ask the Washington Wizards, ask the Utah Jazz. There's no evidence that works.
Do I think that this season Memphis should be doing with what Boston's going to do? Should they lose to get a top 3 pick? Yes, I do. Okay. The only thing that happen. The only thing that can save this iteration of Memphis is plugging in a top end talent that could be one of the 10 best players in the world.
Joel, the beautiful thing is they don't have to lose to have a top 3 pick. Phoenix can do that for them. They have Phoenix's first round pick unprotected from the Desmond Bain.
That's not this year though.
That's the next draft. It's the 2026 NBA draft.
It's 2026.
I know. I'm saying they don't have to lose to get a good pick. I'm saying if they
I'm saying it could come from Phoenix is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that makes things better. I mean, you have to hope that they're really bad, which they probably will be. But yeah, I mean, that can save this current iteration of the Grizzlies. But I don't really see like this current team. I don't really see it. I don't see it. They need something.
You and I see eye to eye. We don't see it with this current iteration of the team. Where we disagree is that you were just writing this team off. Like the book has been written. Memphis, we used to feel so good about. Now it's over. It's not over. So it's not over, Joel. Let's go to Miami.
So
Go
I'm
ahead.
looking at the Grizzlies draft picks. 2026 first round pick they own. 2027 first round pick they own. 2028 first round pick they own. 2029 is Orlando swap rights. 2030 is Washington or Phoenix swap rights. 2030 is Orlando, a first round pick.
Mhm.
So we're talking about this Phoenix pick is it's going to come in 2029
Hold on.
essentially. I'm on Fanspo, so maybe they're giving me the wrong
I
information, but
promise. And that was the crown jewel of the Desmond Bain trade was the 2026 first round pick from Phoenix. Orlando owned it.
now I'm looking at another site. It says Pro Sports Transactions, and it says round one, the Suns.
Yes. That is what
Yeah,
they got. That was the crown jewel because it was 4 first rounders and then the money filler and KCP and Cole Anthony. But that was the crown jewel and why the Grizzlies could not say no to that trade. So not only do they own their picks throughout the next 3 years, they own Phoenix's next year and Orlando. Who knows? I mean, that's a team that's tied up financially. The 2029 and 2030 Orlando pick is a decent, could end up being a decent access if this current iteration of Orlando doesn't work out. I'm not betting on that. But to own all your picks, to own Phoenix's pick, I think it's a let's let's go. Sorry, I have my email up. Aside,
you're good.
you and I agree about the Grizzlies. I've been doing this little college football tour on TikTok and stuff, and I just got approved for LSU game versus Vandy. Super excited.
Nice.
Super excited
That's
about that.
dope.
Just came out, dude. I had emailed. This is how it went down. So I emailed their communication department on Monday. It was 2 people. Did not hear back. Wednesday follow up. Did not hear back. And I was going to go to Alabama, and because I emailed them too, and LSU was going to be my backup. And Alabama was like, "Hey, we're full. It's a rivalry game. It's nothing against you. We just literally have given out all of our credentials." I was like, "Cool." And Vandy, I still have not heard back from this morning, so I literally just called. No answer from like the girl who makes the decision making, but like her assistant, he answered the phone. It's like, "Hey, we're still evaluating it. We'll get back to you by lunchtime." And I was like, "Cool." And they literally just sent me an email now. So yeah, that's what I was saying yes to. But you and I see eye to eye on the
Nice.
Grizzlies. You are slowly starting to work me to the other side too. It's probably because I feel some type of way that I literally have worked with the league before I work with my local team. It's incredibly infuriating. But yeah, I think this current iteration of the Grizzlies, they're not going to do anything special. Miami Heat's next, 38.5.
I'm going over on this. I think Norman Powell changes things for them. And I'm projecting a Khalil Ware breakout.
Yeah.
And I'm also projecting Davion Mitchell to be a really good contributor for this basketball team. So I think all those things in conjunction will get this team to at least 40 wins. I mean, 40 wins, yes, they're going to win 40 games.
Yeah, you're getting a little too excited over there. I don't know what Ware does to you, but my God. Yeah, you are higher on him than I think any other person I've met. I can't wait to watch him this season just because of that. I'm taking the under on 38.5. Norm Powell's not a game changer next to Andrew Wiggins. That fit is questionable, especially when you throw Tyler Hero in there, especially when you throw Terry Rozier's money in there, which was one of the all-time worst trades in the last 3 years, outside of the Luka Doncic trade, of course, but that has been a complete disaster, and why I'm going under 38.5. Milwaukee Bucks 42.5 up next. They're 17th team. We got 13 to go.
I'm going over just because of Giannis, and that's really it. And I do think Miles Turner makes them better too. So
Yeah.
those two.
I'm taking under just because I'm hedging on the Giannis trade. If they stay together, I see them going over as well. Timberwolves 49.5. I'm going over. You've talked me into this iteration of the Timberwolves. I'm not quite as high as you are, but it's Anthony Edwards, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Yes, a great guy, but I think it's kind of been it's beaten a dead horse as far as his impact. His impact has been great. Point guard is where I have a concern, but I think Anthony Edwards is so great. They're still a 50-win team, especially with the continuity with Julius Randle.
This is a team that I really wish went out and got Lonzo Ball. I
Mm-hmm.
think Lonzo Ball starting at point guard for them would have changed a lot of things. It would have added defense. It would have added another decision maker and playmaker to this ball club. They don't have that, so they need Rob Dillingham to step up. And his last preseason game, he was good. The ones before that, not so much. So you kind of just need him to play his game and hopefully blossom into a player they can depend on. But I think Terrence Shannon Jr. will be that for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that with the starting lineup, one of the best in the league, and then still having the depth behind that, I think that they'll be a 51 team. I'm going over.
Yes, glad we see eye to eye on that. Pelicans is where we'll disagree. 30.5. You, for whatever reason, are higher on this team than me. I don't know if you're high enough to envision them winning over 30 games. Yikes. I'm
30
definitely
is not
taking.
a lot.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a lot. It speaks to how bad this roster is. Zion Williamson is great. Am I betting on his health? No, I am not. Am I betting on Jordan Poole to be a reliable point guard? No, I am not. He is not a distributor. He is a scorer. DeJounte Murray is not starting the season. This is a team who traded their best asset in the offseason and to the Hawks, who had to double back and make sure they were trading their best asset. Not to mention a team with a multitude of bigs for no reason. Eves Missy. They signed Kevon Looney. They draft Derek Queen. What sense does that make in Zion's future? None. And why I'm taking the under.
That's fair. I'm gonna go over. 30 is just too low. Like if Herb Jones and Zion and Trey Murphy are on the court with Poole, there's no way.
There is a way, and it happens every year. And every October, people talk themselves into if the Pelicans are healthy. They can do something special. And the one time it's happened, Zion goes for 40 in the play-in, not the playoffs, the play-in. And then they get swept in the playoffs.
But you're saying it happens every year. Like the year before this past season, they didn't make the playoffs. They did.
Last year, what will happen is exactly what happened last year. I'll just put it that way.
Okay. Okay. So
Zion,
Herb Jones gets hurt, misses most of the season. The entire roster is basically just done.
Zion played 20 something games, Joel. That happened. And the year before, he played 72. I will give him that. He played 72 and it converted to a play-in berth. That is what it converted.
I think they're going to clear 30. This is the best bet of the year.
Okay, we got the Pelicans bet. We got the DeAndre Ayton bet. We got a lot of stuff going. All right, Knicks, 53.5. They clear it. I think this is a 60-plus win team. This is my NBA championship pick. Not only my NBA finals pick, my NBA championship pick. There's a lot of pressure on Mike Brown. I think he's willing to live up to it. New York fans are going to be on his ass if he does anything less than Tom Thibodeau, which is the conference finals. This is what Knicks fans asked for. They wanted these expectations. Apparently, according to them, the conference finals wasn't good enough, so they fired Tom Thibodeau. So I think they made the right decision, and they're going to go way over 53.5.
This is going to be the best team in the East. They're going to win 60 games. This is number one seed. I got the Knicks clearing this.
Thunder, 62.5.
I think they go over. I mean, they went over this with an injured Chet. Like, the only way you can say they don't go over is if they don't take the regular season seriously. But they have so many young players to where they're not at the age of, like, coasting.
Yeah.
You know, I think that now they're hungrier than ever, and they can make history this year.
I rarely talk about summer league whenever I'm, doing actual basketball analysis, which is a joke whenever it comes to me. But AJ Mitchell, I vividly remember him playing in the summer league game before Cooper Flag versus Bronny the first night of summer league this year. And I don't know if you were there, but just watching AJ Mitchell in that environment and seeing how much better he was than everyone else on the floor made me really open my mind to holy shit, this Thunder team is so deep we cannot even comprehend it. I'm not on the train where everyone else is, where they're just going to run through this year and win the NBA title. They're not my championship pick, but you're right. For regular season wins, I completely agree. And by the way, do you remember that AJ Mitchell game? Were you there before the Flag game?
I was not. I just went there for the Flag game.
Okay, got you. Let's move on to the Magic, 50.5.
I think this is over. I think as long as they stay healthy, this is one of the most talented teams in the East.
I'm taking the over as well. 76ers, 42.5. I'm taking the over. I saw the report that Joel Embiid might play a preseason game. I think that's signs pointing up, and that was the only question I had with him. It doesn't mean I'm betting on him to play 50 games, but if he plays 40 of them, I think they win over 42 games.
Yeah, I think I'm going over on this as well. I'm just betting on the bounce back from Paul George and Joel Embiid. They were just struck with injuries to so much of a high degree last season. I just don't see it happening again.
I don't either. Let's run through these final six. All right, Suns 30.5. I'm taking
Under.
I'm taking the under as well because I want it for the Grizzlies. Trailblazers 34.5.
Over. I think they'll be like a 36-37 win team.
I'm taking the under. This roster, yes, is great defensively. Offensively, it's inept. The Kings 34.5, same number. I'm taking the under.
I'm taking the over ever so slightly. It's a weird team, but they have some good players.
Westbrook fan? Westbrook fan?
I do like Westbrook. I don't know about a fan, but I like Westbrook.
All right, Spurs 43.5. You and I have beat this to a pulp, I think, with this argument. I know where you're going.
De'Aaron Fox is hurt right now, so that changes some things.
Does it change how you feel about the contract?
No, it doesn't actually. He's only hurt right now. But I'm gonna go under because like 43 is fine, but I kind of see them being like 41 and 41, 42 win team. I don't see this being better than those top end teams in the West.
I'm so glad I converted you. I'm taking the under as well. Raptors 39 and a half.
This is a frisky team, man. I'm gonna go with over.
I'm taking the under. I love how we try to wrap up something fast. We just disagree on literally every, like all of the last ones. It's hilarious. All right, Jazz 19 and a half. I'm taking the under. Wizards 20 and a half. I'm taking the under on both.
I'll take the over on the Jazz. I'll take the under on the Wizards.
Over on the Jazz. What the hell?
Yeah, Laurie Markkinen, Ace Bailey. He's really good. He's playing awesome.
Is he?
Bryce Sensabaugh, I like.
Doesn't Ace Bailey have like
Kyle
some shit?
Flipowski.
I
I
heard
see it.
I heard Bill Simmons ask this on his podcast. How do you think Will Hardy describes his job to his wife? Like, think about it. Like the last 4 years, they have won 19 games, and his wife has had to sit through all nearly 350 of those games. How do you explain that? Listen, I'm doing the right thing. We're just getting our ass kicked every night.
Have a bad team.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. All right, that's where we'll wrap up. Joel, this time next week, we'll be talking about actual basketball games, stuff that's happening on the basketball floor. Can't wait for it. Hopefully, you and I connect in New York whenever I'm up there. Excited to see you in person again. And always, always, always appreciate the time. And congrats again on the Netflix stuff. I know that was a nice surprise for you, but it was well earned, bro.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thank you for having me on the show.